The Radio Wemo Breakfast.
There are some people that go on stage and the audience are never going to like them, no matter what they do. There are other people who go out on stage whose material is not very strong at all, but they've just got funny bones.
Good evening, everybody. Give it up for your MC, Mr. Brendan Lovegrove.
Yes, it is the Documentary Film Festival kicking off next week in Auckland City. A whole bunch of talented documentary makers have submitted their works from all over the world, including New Zealand, including that one there, which is called Stand Up. Lina LaMont has had a wee preview of some of these docos. How you doing?
Yeah, lucky me.
Yeah, lucky you.
Lucky me, Whammo, yeah.
And certainly I'm very jealous because even with the International Film Festival, which comes out later on this year, documentary section is always my favourite.
Yeah. Do you know, our Documentary Edge film festivals are actually really, really good. It's staggering. I still find it staggering that we can have... I mean, this pink booklet that people should be out and finding if they haven't already found theirs and marked all their choices is actually chock full of really decent films. The Documentary Edge people do not have to scrape around to find decent documentaries, which I think shows a real turn in cinema going.
This would have been much harder 10, 15 years ago. I think the tools are now in people's hands to actually do this kind of stuff and make them. Yeah.
Actually, that's a very good point. There are several films in this particular festival that are very sort of very self-made. There's one of a young...
That's being kind, is it?
Well, no. What I mean is, like young German filmmaker who is the subject of his own film in All My Fathers, because he decides that he wants to get to know his biological father a little better. He happens to be a bit of a film guy. He takes a camera round. His family are very lenient about letting him into their kitchen, and him asking, like his mother, very, very firm questions to establish actually the guy he thought was his biological dad turns out maybe not to be. So he is not only the filmmaker but the subject, and he's able to do that, I presume, on quite a low budget, and produce a very lovely, genuine film. It's fantastic.
So there are quite a few New Zealand ones in this
Yeah,
selection?
there are. So the one that you played the trailer of just now, Stand Up, is a very enticing prospect indeed. It tracks the history of stand-up comedy in this country.
Right.
And all the great...
All 10 of them?
Well, the great and the good, so about 9 of them turn out to, as talking heads in this film to talk us through the chronology of how it happened. I have to admit, I was guilty of thinking, oh, awesome, I'll just sit back and laugh for 80 minutes, and it isn't like that. To be fair, it's a factual documentary, so they're going to talk you through the history. It's not just one big stand-up routine.
I guess I always come across quite mean, towards New Zealand comedians, but we're just not that good.
Well, it depends. There's like a niche, right? Jean Marie has a real niche as being this Westy bird who comes out and is very Westy chick, and it is very amusing. I mean, forget Outrageous Fortune and all that sort of thing. She's very amusing. It's almost a persona, even though I appreciate that that's her. I think some of the others, who should probably remain nameless for legal reasons, think that they're really funny, and have maybe got a little bit big for their boots. But I mean, you've got to see the film to figure that out for yourselves. There are still some very funny lines, and you can see where the innate talent is.
Okay, well, let's have a quick snippet of this next one.
I think only a real killer can tell the truth. But I told my chum,
Craigie, this one looks a bit freaky.
Yeah.
A bit scary.
Enemies of the People.
Yeah.
That's this is it's now for something completely different. This is about the Cambodian genocide between 1975 and 79, which I happen to be very interested in, having gone to Cambodia a couple of years ago. So the minute that I saw this, I was like, oh, I'm desperate to see this film. And but you don't have to have gone or visited the killing fields or really know very much about Pol Pot's regime to appreciate this film. What is incredible about this film is that for the last 30 or so years, Cambodia as a nation has not really been talking about what happened to it. And we're talking a quarter of the population killed, 2 million people killed, right? So everybody in contemporary Cambodia has been affected in some way because they either lost family members or were children growing up through it or whatever. Now, there's a journalist, a local journalist, Thet Sambat, who has spent 10 years going out into the village every week to visit Pol Pot's right-hand man, brother number 2, they called him, sort of befriending him in a very genuine way, not in a manipulative way, and just talking about generic things for the first 3 years or something before he would even broach the fact that, hey, weren't you the equivalent of our sort of Hitler of the 1970s, you know? And
this guy's free? Or is he not?
Yeah, he's free because only now is the International Criminal Tribunal over there starting to haul people up.
Yeah.
So this guy's been living out there, and I think there will have been a large number of the population who knew that he was once something quite seriously to do with it all. Anyway, this journalist has gone out and has started sort of asking people, so what were you thinking? Why did you do it? And he also goes out and talks to Joe Villager, who still lives in the villages, and who says, I mean, it's a horrifying, but a very, very compelling and very well made and unhysterical film.
Yeah, okay.
So, Enemies of the People, very, very good indeed.
Cool, all right. What else?
Right, so that was Cambodia. Then we moved to Finland for Steam of Life. Now, I don't think, why would I want to watch a whole lot of, actually I have to say quite a lot of very large Finnish men sitting around in saunas talking Finnish.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Finnish, I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
It's actually a very touching film, and I'll tell you for why. It seems as though the Scandinavian preoccupation for sitting around and it's not even just wooden saunas of the likes that we would understand. There's a fantastic scene where you watch two chaps walk into a caravan in the middle of nowhere, virtually, and there's a big stove been set up in the caravan, and they're ladling the water, and they're down to, then nudity, and they're talking about the most extraordinary, painful past memories from their childhood and all that sort of thing. And I have to admit to having belief that men don't really talk about their feelings, but in saunas in Finland, apparently they do.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's something to do with disrobing like that, and just being completely naked, and everyone being equal, perhaps.
Maybe. Yeah, it is. It's interesting.
Is that the feeling you get from watching it? That is the case. That perhaps it's a leveling.
It is very much a leveling, and there's no bravado, and there's no pull yourself together, and why are you talking about that? Harden up, or any of that sort of thing. It's all just people going, wow, that must have been really hard for you.
So I wonder how the documentary maker managed to.
I hadn't thought about the documentary maker being in there, getting very hot as well.
Or why they allowed the documentary maker in the first place.
I do not know.
It looks to me like it's beautifully shot.
It is beautiful, and there are just nice peaceful moments where the camera will pan across a field, and then you'll see like a broken down, burnt out car in the middle of a field, and think, well, I don't know what this is about, but it looks pretty. And then you see there's these two little kids sitting, semi-naked outside, and then they go back in the car, and the car's been made into a sauna. I mean, it really is amazing.
Well, it's a cold place.
Well, that's right.
This is what you want to do. That's really cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Steam of Life. No doubt the documentary maker was probably also naked as well. You'd have to be.
I hadn't thought about how uncomfortable it might be for him or her, actually. And why does the camera lens not fog? I hadn't thought about why it doesn't fog up or anything.
Well, there are so many more, and we will be talking about, I think, some of these throughout the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, sure.
Mention as well.
So just to let people know, in Auckland, the festival starts on the 16th of Feb and runs for about 3 weeks. And in Wellington, it's 10th of March till 27th of March. So people should grab their hot pink Documentary Edge Festival brochure and flick through. You'll find heaps that you want. I mean, there are some here that I haven't yet seen. I want to see the one about, it's called Donated to Science, I believe. It's a New Zealand film about what happens to our...
Been on TV, that one.
Oh, maybe it has. Well, I didn't see it. I missed that. There's corruption in South America and in Africa. There's obligatory Holocaust documentary, drug dealing in South America.
There must be a climate one in there somewhere.
There probably is. I hadn't seen it. I could. There are heaps that are really good.
And there's the website as well. What's that address?
The Documentary Edge Festival is documentaryedge.org.nz, and that has all the details on it.
Excellent, and along with the trailers as well.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much, Lina. Your website, linalamont.wordpress.com as well, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.